I tell you what, guys, the new Chelsea manager, Enzo Maresca, has some stones on him. Some of the stuff he was coming out with in his pre-match press conference for, of course, our Europa Conference League game. He spoke about Raheem Sterling. He told him on Friday, "You're not on my plans, mate, and you're training alone." Ruthless, brutal. Many people will agree with that decision, though. Similar with Chile, maybe a little bit more delicate with him. This guy is ruthless. Of course, he spoke on new Chelsea signing Joao Felix, as will we in this video. We are going to go through Maresca's quotes, very, very interesting ones. The journalists, of the football journalists of this world, are going to absolutely get so much juice out of Maresca. We're going to reflect on the interview with Joao Felix on the Chelsea website. And Raheem Sterling is accepted. He's no longer part of Chelsea, and he's looking for alternatives. Wow-wee. Hot, juicy stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Therapy. Welcome back to Chelsea News. Thank you, as always, for supporting the content. Love you very much for doing so. You can do so simply by liking and subscribing. Should you choose to subscribe, hit the bell. We've got to get into it. All right, we're going to start off with the Joao Felix interview. Of course, it's been confirmed. We've seen the Joao media. He's back at his Chelsea home, as he calls it. Joao Felix has barely reached Cobham's reception room before he's run into several familiar faces. He doesn't need a lengthy tour of the training ground. The time is much better spent up catching up with old friends. 15 months have passed since Felix was last in these corridors as a Chelsea player, and is quickly apparent fond memories from that period that's etched into his mind. Now he wants to make more memories, many more. Joao Felix's half-season on loan at Chelsea contained a few highlights, of which, of course, a victory against Borussia Dortmund at Stamford Bridge as the best, quote, a proper Champions League game with an amazing atmosphere, as he puts it. Collectively, though, it's an underwhelming few months for Chelsea. Yeah, boy, don't we know it. And while we saw evidence of Joao Felix's outstanding ability, the attacker acknowledges he is returning to the club with a sense of unfinished business. That feeling, well, he's got 7 years, basically, to sort that out. That feeling is heightened because he has not put down roots in recent seasons. Yeah, interesting. So this is some of the stuff that Felix had to say. He says this: "It's a chance for me to find a home. After 2 loans, Chelsea and Barca, I need to stay permanently in one place, and there is no better place for me than Chelsea. I see a perfect place to shine." I was, it's nice, isn't it? Because it's not a mercenary move. He's not getting silly money. He's getting less money. So this stuff genuinely makes me happy to read. It was a little bit of a lot of things. A little bit of a lot of things that made me want to come back. The project, here's that bloody phrase again. The project that all these players flock to Chelsea for. Again, not for mental wages, I guess long contracts, so financial security in that sense. But there's always this mysterious project. So yeah, the project, the club, the league, well, it is the best league in the world. The fans, the time I spent here that I loved. I felt really good when I was here, despite the results that we had. I'm really happy to be back. Of course, he will benefit from experience in the Premier League, Joao, 6 months. He believes the duels, counterattacks, and positive intent of teams makes it more fun to play and watch, more fun to watch and play in than the other leagues he has sampled, of course. He has sampled a few now. The 24-year-old adds the proximity of the fans and the intensity of their support also blew him away the first time round. Since we last saw Joao Felix in blue, he says he's made great strides forward which align to his Premier League expertise, and it will stand him in good stead for the exciting times that lie ahead. At Stamford Bridge, he says this: "I've developed as a player in a lot of ways. The perception of the game and the spaces the ball can arrive easily where I can make more impact. I try to figure it out by watching some videos of me playing my games." And in terms of occupying the right space, moving into space, combining. Yeah, yesterday we looked at his stats again on X Value. He's like one of the best at combinational attacking play in the final third. 1-2s, carries, intelligent, insightful, cerebral footballing play. I've kind of changed since I was last here. I'm 24 now, I'll be 25 in November. I feel like I've grown up as a player. That's normal with age. I'm more prepared for the Premier League. I feel like my best years are ahead of me. Well, I hope so at 24. I have no doubt about that. The best years are still to come, and this year is going to be a good year, because now I am permanently at home, and I can enjoy home. Ah, lovely. Isn't that nice? Joao Felix was watching Chelsea on Sunday. Gutted. The defeat to Man. It wasn't that bad a performance. Come on, I'm joking. He likes what he sees of Maresca's methodology, he thinks it will suit his game perfectly. He says, "I just want to try and give my best for the team and get goals and assists. This season, I want to play as many games as I can." Well, you might play a lot now. Raheem Sterling's out the door. More on that in a moment. And be team and club and be the top of world football again. Chelsea needs to be up there. I agree, Joao. This season, we have to do a big season, and I'm going to do my best to help. Yes, big words. I like it. I do. I mean, I've drunk the Kool-Aid. I never was a disliker of Joao Felix. I always respected his talent and his superstar quality, but never was like, we need him at Chelsea. He's the solution. But the Kool-Aid has been drank. I'm friggin' excited. I'm on the hype train. Choo-choo. Heck, I'm driving that so-and-so. So, yeah. Excited. Alright, the Standard's written this about Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling accepts his time at Chelsea is over as he waits for offers to revitalise his career ahead of next week's transfer deadline, writes Dan Kilpatrick on the Standard. Sterling does not expect to be involved for the Blues going forward, following a conversation with new head coach Enzo Maresca after a training on Friday in which he was told the club are prioritising players in his position and that he could move on. Friday! He knew what this statement that he put out before the Man City game, needlessly, dare I say, malicious. He had been told, sorry bro, it's over, you're done. So why are you releasing statements going, we look forward to gaining clarity? It sounds like you had hella clarity. Sterling has been omitted. Look, just caveat, disclaimer. He's a good guy, Sterling. He's a good professional. Heck, he's a good footballer. But it hasn't worked at Chelsea. It may have had more of a chance of working under Maresca. That's what I speculated in pre-season. But, like, you can't be shocked that Chelsea are interested in moving on. You could be like, look, Conor Gallagher, like, I haven't even referenced him yet because he had his, the official goodbye on social media, but we've talking about this exit for like weeks now. So, it was a lovely, respectful goodbye from Chelsea. Many people will think, well, you didn't treat him respectfully, but, contracts were offered, and he said he made a really nice goodbye message. Like, he thanks Chelsea. He says, don't be sad, it's over, be happy it happened. He's obviously excited about the Atletico Madrid move. It's kind of a happy ending, Okay, of course, he's been omitted from the Europa League Conference playoff squad that we play tomorrow. And of course, his camp asked for clarity, like we said in the statement, Raheem Sterling. Sterling is open to listening to proposals from other clubs before next Friday's transfer deadline, but will not be forced into an unfavourable transfer with his young family settled in West London since his £50 million move from City in 2022. The 29-year-old, who has 3 years left on his $325k a week contract, I believe it is, has already rebuffed interest from the Saudi Pro League. Fair enough, and is hard to see an obvious destination elsewhere in the Premier League. Maresca said after the City game that he wants Sterling at... Yeah, he said he wants Sterling at City. He was asked, do you want Raheem Sterling? And he went, I want every player at Chelsea. But I can't have every player. That's too. He was basically saying yes, but no. Look, defenders Ben Chilwell, Wesley Fofana, Tosin and Rabaya were not included for the UEFA squad, and Fofana is like a fitness thing. Obviously, both Tosin and Wesley are massively important for Chelsea and indeed Enzo Maresca, but Ben Chilwell is a little bit in Raheem Sterling's situation here. Chilwell has also been told he can move on this summer. Chelsea aim to drastically trim their squad of 43 players. And of course, it goes on to reference the emotional goodbyes from Conor Gallagher, which was a nice exit. I think Raheem Sterling might be a little bit ushered out the back door. I do think Chile will have a nice exit should he go as well, because he was great for a time, Ben Chilwell. He was so amazing in our Champions League win. And it's not like we're like Real Madrid where we've won freaking thousands of Champions Leagues. We doubled our numbers. It was our second European Cup against the odds, and Chilwell was so important in that. So he should, and absolutely will, I think, get a really respectful goodbye should he be sold. I'm not calling for any of these guys to be sold. I just understand it. Now, Enzo Maresca said a lot of stuff in his press conference, didn't he? So he sat down. I'm going to read some quotes now. Of course, he was asked about Joao Felix very early, who had been recently announced. He says this: he's a good player. He's a talent. The club already knows him from his loan, of course. The good thing is he can play in different positions, inside, as a 9, on the outside, and this is the reason why we've signed him. Of course, we know the Swiss Army players. Joao Felix represents that. Of course, he's not on the list for tomorrow's game. He's not available for that. So let's get into the Raheem Sterling and Ben Chilwell stuff. He says, they are at this moment training apart. The situation for both of them is quite clear. Raheem Sterling and Ben Chilwell. There is not any update. It's not over yet because they are Chelsea players. He's saying... So he was then posed the question, look, Enzo Maresca, mate, you're coming across a bit brutal here. You know, Trevor Chalobah, Conor Gallagher, Raheem Sterling, Ben Chilwell. And he says, brutal? I don't think so. I'm just trying to be honest. I said, and I can repeat, if it's not clear, I spoke with Raheem before City. I said he's going to struggle to get minutes. With Chile, I said he's lovely. He's lovely. He's a lovely boy, isn't he? But he would struggle because of his position. And that was from pre-season. He was very clear, very early with Ben Chilwell. Like, he's just not sentimental here. He's just out for blood and hopefully winning. Hopefully. He goes on to say this: it's a job of all managers to try and keep the players happy. This is impossible because they train every day to keep minutes. It's almost impossible to keep all of them happy. I always try and be honest. Well, you got to be honest, mate. That's what I'd say. He says, at the moment right now, the noise is all outside. I'm working with 21 to 22 players since we got back from the preseason tour of America. I'm not working with 42, 43 players. Jamie Carragher, mate, on Sky Sports Monday Night Football, slagging Chelsea off, going, where are they going to sit? In his silly Scouse accent. No offence to Scousers out there, but he's a knob, isn't he? 42, 43 players. He says, more than 15 players are training apart. So look, 21, he's probably working with a smaller squad than a lot of other Premier League managers at the moment. So, yeah. And also, can I just say, like, you know, Ben Jacobs was saying on London is Blue podcast, which I referenced this morning's video, that Chelsea are trying to get a net spend of £0 this summer. That would be amazing. And I guess if they did that with all the academy players, there would actually be profit on the books from pure profit sales. And on top of that, they'd be arguing that, in fact, they finally rebuilt a squad with a squad building philosophy, not necessarily, you know, the older models of high wages mercenaries, which, by the way, doesn't even work anymore because of PSR rules. So, in theory, intelligent stuff here. He goes on, Enzo Maresca, to say, this is not my problem, like the bloated squad. I am here to do what is best for us. It is not my job to think about contracts and, you know, players that are not playing with long contracts. That's not him saying. The question was relevant to that. He says they can have 20-year contracts. I don't care. I'm just here to make the right decisions for the team. Ooh. Left hook, right hook. I repeat again, I am not working with 42 players. I am working with 21 players. Today's session was 20 players. Yesterday, 21. The other 50 to 20 players are training apart. I do not see them. It's not a mess like it looks from the outside. Absolutely not. So he's just suggesting here it's squad planning. Chelsea have registered players. They have what they deem a portfolio of assets. Players that are good players that they believe can be sold elsewhere or loaned, and everything's fine. In terms of Chelsea functioning as a first team unit, they have a limited, ideal size of squad, training for the Premier League and indeed the Conference League and domestic competitions. That's Maresca's group. He goes on to confirm that Wesley Fofana is not out because he played the other day. He's got to take some decisions for, I guess, burnout. He was asked about the Conor Gallagher situation. He says, I said this already in the USA. In this moment, it's not just Chelsea. It's not only Chelsea. Many other clubs are selling academy players. It's very sad. I mentioned about Totti. We all love that. These rules, like Totti player, one club player, I guess. The rules are different. Sometimes you need to sell for 100% pure profit. It's the situation. He's just saying, this is the model. This is the business model. This is how you get ahead. It's not just Chelsea. Everyone's doing it. It's just what's happening at the moment. He goes on to speak about in the way we want to play. Unfortunately, Romeo was not fit. He started very well. He can give us off the ball a big help. Enzo, in terms of personality and character, quite strong. We're okay the way we are. I think he's talking about midfielders there. Romeo Lavia, not fit. I don't know if he means for the squad on Thursday. We'll have to see what happens there. So Raheem Sterling. He was asked, is it too late for him at Chelsea? He says, no. Is it too late? No. We played the first game at Wrexham as a winger. Yeah, because he was asked this. I remember this because I watched it before. I'm reading these references here off Absolute Chelsea on X. He was saying, look, why are you bombing out? I don't know what the journo said exactly, but it was something to like the tune of, why are you bombing out Raheem Sterling? Like, he played all the games for you, like, in pre-season, and suddenly you don't want him. Which he contested. He says it's not too late for him, but he says, well, who played the first game as Wrexham as winger? It was George, the young academy player. It was good to see them. Who played the other one? It was Mudryk. You know, he was saying, like, I played a young academy player. I played Mudryk. Yeah, Raheem started one, but I was having a look at all these players. I wasn't, like, you know, committing all my, like, future plans on Raheem Sterling. I was just having a look at them. So he was very kind of, like, boisterous, you know. This guy isn't the yes man. He's the stuff he's saying with the pure profit. At times he infers that the rule needs to change, which Chelsea won't like because they're making them loads of money. He's very, very assertive, Maresca here. And of course, he says Reece James, who could technically play in the Europa Conference League, he says he can't because he's still injured with a hamstring. Yes, let's talk about captains. He says, I am thinking of nominating 1 or 2 more captains because, of course, he confirmed that Reece James is the Chelsea captain. That's not going to change. He's the listed and registered Chelsea captain, and Enzo is one of the sort of leadership group vice captains. Interesting here, he says, for instance, Levi Colwill, a fantastic person and profile. I'm thinking if he steps forward in this aspect, he can become more complete. It's not just Levi. I'm thinking of 1 or 2 more. Loads of people actually have been calling for Levi Colwill to become vice captain in Ben Chilwell's absence, because it does look like Ben Chilwell's about to go, right? Levi Colwill he's a touch. I don't say he's a touch of John Terry, but he is super aggressive. He's quite cultured. He is Chelsea. He's proper Chelsea. He speaks very well. I'd argue speaks a lot better than Reece James in public as a sort of communicator. I see Levi Colwill being a bit younger than James, becoming at some point Chelsea captain. So I'm very pleased to hear that from Enzo Maresca. He speaks about having 4 or 5 leaders, sort of captains in the team as well. He goes on to speak a little bit more about the game tomorrow. He explains that he was also asked by Simon Johnson of The Athletic, the sort of moans and groans and boos from players who didn't like the play style. He says, look, whatever he says, he liked the atmosphere in the stadium. He sort of sidesteps that question a little bit, but the Chelsea fans are going to have to deal with that. And yes, all kinds of stuff's coming out now, literally just minutes ago. I'm just going to read you the short article now that came out since I'm recording, from David Ornstein on Raheem Sterling. It's very quick. I know this is a long video, but it's very quick. Sterling has expressed a preference to leave Chelsea on a permanent basis after it became clear that he's no longer part of the plans going forward. The 29-year-old has trained away from the club on Tuesday and Wednesday after being given a few days off while both parties consider options for a departure. Talks are planned in the coming days, with Chelsea working on the winger to find a full-time solution, which would currently be which he would currently prefer to a loan switch. Yeah, he doesn't want to be loaned. Kind of like how Osimhen doesn't want to be loaned. Sterling was unhappy being left out, of course, for the Man City game, even though he knew, by the way. A statement came out as well. Of course, Maresca said stuff like, I know he's a good player, but I prefer... So this is something else he said in his press conference. He's a good player, but I prefer different kind of wingers. So he's literally saying, like, yeah, Sterling's good, I just don't want him. He's not the kind of player I want. Which is pretty, like... Yeah. Crazy. Moves are being made, but people who are wanting a Chelsea change will like the moves. Guys, thank you for joining me again. Thank you for liking and subscribing. I'll be on top of all Chelsea stories, match reviews, the old match preview as well. So do keep it locked. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Hit the bell if you subscribe, and I hope to see you back here soon for more Chelsea madness. Peace.